All right, I had a little break there. Now we're looking at the R on the second string here because there's no way that you can get to this 7 if the fret nut is there. They just don't have a low enough note on your, you don't have a string below the lowest string. So we're looking at the root on the second string. As you know, if you take an E if you take an E pentatonic up the string from there, all right, it goes root 2 3 5 6 root. All right. Now, if that's the if you pretend this is this is the second string, you're going to have to warp on the fifth string. So it's root 2 3 5 6 root, but instead of doing the 2 3 over here, usually on the E, it's going to be warped up. If the 2 3 warps up over to there, okay, then you got a different shape to it. But we have a different pattern there. So that would be 2 3 4 5 6. It looks like a D shape. So starting with an E shape, you would go to a D shape or something like that. Let's verify. All right, so the fifth of E is B on my guitar. It's a blue note up here. So, but we're going to start the B from the second string is over here. So this is where we are. It moves you around when you start putting the fret nut somewhere else. So here's the second string, and there's the fret nut, and pretty much, hey, we're there. How did that happen? Okay, so it goes like this. We're going to do an E shape, but then we have to warp. It looks like it turned into an A. Okay, it turned into an A shape right there. So that would mean if it was an A shape here on the F sharp here, all right, this is definitely the F sharp there. Um, in the key of E, that would be the Dorian. Now that's interesting because Dorian is usually the D shape. So we'll have to look into that further. Um, let's see. Dorian's usually D shape. I don't think we're going to crack any of this in a hurry. We want to keep moving along. The what we're doing here is well, we're drawing all over the place. We're going to introduce this pattern, the bigger pattern, into the picture here. Okay, so we can get this 7 that was sunken because of those notes, and we can also get the 6 and the 3. This is going to warp over. The 5 and the 2 is going to warp over. So we use this part of the pattern here. Okay? Now, that's how we got to use. That's how I got to use this part of the pattern. And indeed, indeed, there it is. I made the pattern for that. And it works out just like that. So here's our 5 that we were playing, which was the B. So it would be B, B, C sharp, G sharp. Okay, half a step. This would be the E here. All right. So you play through the pattern, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where do we get the 7 from that was before the root? We got it from the string below it. And that's what this pattern enables you to do. But we can't just keep playing this pattern all the way up the fretboard. Okay, let's go back in time for a few charts. We have this on one of my charts before, right here, without zooming in. Okay, we even have the pattern there, but notice there's two of them, because when I first make a pattern, I really want to have it stacked to the ceiling so that I can definitely see where it starts to repeat, because we don't want to leave out any strings. Some of my patterns are only 5 strings high, and some of them end up 7 strings. This one ended up 7 strings high in its simplest form. Okay, so that's interesting. This one's 5 strings high, something like that. See, it's only 5 strings high. So we got the Dorian, the Mixolydian, the Locrian, the Phrygian, and the Aeolian. Okay, but it's missing one of them. What's it missing? It's missing the Ionian. It doesn't have a root there in one of the beginning ones. But you can play it from there and just stack another one on top. Reason why we're on this chart. If we wanted to do the whole fretboard in S3 XL, we'd end up with this, right? We'd end up with this. Doing the whole stack in the whole fretboard in just root 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, if we did the whole keyboard in that, we'd end up with this. All right, it's kind of all there and it's kind of not all there. I can see right here, I can see an S3L, an S2L. Probably can see an S3L, but I don't know what that is. Here's an S2L here. And if you look at S3Ls, there's the 7 root 2 is the top, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4 is the bottom. We do have it, but we're not, we haven't like color coded and internalized these patterns, these smaller patterns. We haven't I had to highlight them, but see how they go from one pattern color to the other? So it gets all jumbled up there. Alright, so you can do the whole keyboard like that. You can do the whole keyboard like that. But why? But there's a problem. When you want to go root to root, you can start here and go R2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How are you going to find that 7? How are you going to get to that 7 and still stay in this pattern? There is a 7 in this pattern, but this 7 belongs to another S3XL. This one's warped now, so the 5 has to warp over, but this is the pattern, okay? The first line and the second 2 lines are warped. So you have to consider this as part of the other pattern. You don't want to do that. It's a lone wolf note, and you'll never remember to go get it. You have to stay in the pattern. So we want to make a pattern that includes 7R2, and the way to do that is over here. I'm a little slow this morning. The way to include the 7R2 is after going through the S3XL here, to use this pattern, which does the S3S top on top of it for you. How do you find that? You lock into the 5, 6. When you go to the 4, 5, 6, you say 5, 6, aha, S3S, S3S. So the top of S3S, 5, 6, 7, R2. It's right there for you. You're locked in. And then you can go on to an S2L from there.